Now, I believe it was just this past Friday leading up to the Dateline episode when it comes to the Idaho 4 that we did a nice live stream here. It was pretty fun. And, well, I love talking to y'all sometimes. But it was also very eye-opening to me because I realized that people in this community are married to their positions. Are you a guilter? Are you a non-guilter? What are you exactly, right? No, they call pro-burger. Now, as many of you guys know, I've been what you would call a pro-burger for the last pretty much 2.5 years. But like any logical human being, my opinion can be altered with new evidence. Just like in the Delphi case, once I heard Richard Allen said, "Motherfucker, I did it," I said, okay, I'm going to take him for his word. Well, with the Idaho 4 case, we have always understood that the evidence is very circumstantial, but I have to admit it's starting to build up. And I know this is going to make the pro-burgers mad at me. I don't really give a shit because you got to be a logical human being and accept things for what they are, not try to gaslight people and say, oh, so now you believe the mainstream media? Look, man, I'm not a pro-mainstream media guy, and many people already know that. But there are certain things that if they say it as facts, then it has to be facts or they would get sued. It's up to us to be able to weave through it and kind of go through the rubble. Guys, I'm JB Gunner. This is Crime Time. We're going to be talking about the Dateline special because for me, I think he did it. I think he did it. Let's get into it. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
What's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm JB Gunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started, let me first and foremost say thank you to everybody that supports the channel. Hell, any of my channels, regardless of platform, regardless of method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't have done this for the last 19 years on all these different channels if it wasn't for you, the Gun Squad. Appreciate you, love you so much. And if you too find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Support the channel. Join the Gun Squad today.
I was kind of mingling
what the fuck
and
is that?
socializing and started chatting with
Shut this motherfucker up. Anyways, sorry about that. I guess the damn website went. Who cares? Anyways, you guys know the deal. Guys, before I get into this, I do want to say that behind the scenes, me and Harsh Reality's talking, and I think what we're going to do is a back and forth. We're going to kind of debate it, which is really strange because me and Harsh Reality is, I guess, what you guys would call pro-burgers, and we're probably the two longest reigning pro-burgers on this case. In all reality, we're just pro-innocent until proven guilty. For Harsh, it hasn't been proven to him yet. For me, it's been kind of proven to me. So we're going to have a friendly back and forth, I guess a debate, if you will, where we would just discuss it and see where it goes from there and see which one of us, is the most. Look, let's just be perfectly honest. Most of you are married to your positions and you're not going to change your mind anyway. I think we all can understand that. But let's go ahead and get into this story. Let's go ahead and jump on in because I do want to discuss. Well, let me put this back. I do want to discuss what we saw in the Dateline episode. Now, for you guys that have not watched me for a long time, I will say this. I do not believe there is smoking gun evidence. But what I believe is that the coincidences are starting to add up. Now, let me give you the coincidences. Number one, obviously, is the biggest problem for Kohlberger people, for the defense in this case. And it is something I agree with you about is questionable science. And what is that science? Touch DNA. I've told you a million times, if I touch this cup and you then go and buy this cup, my DNA is now in your house. It does not mean I was in that house or that I murdered anyone. However, with it being on a knife sheath under a dead body, okay, that's coincidence number one. I think we can all agree to that. That's a coincidence. Number two, we got to talk about the vehicle. Now, the vehicle was never something I really took too serious anyway, because I assume there's a lot of white Elantras. However, when they get to talking about the front plate, and I didn't realize that they had such clear shots of the vehicle. There was a shot of the vehicle leaving the crime scene at a rapid rate, and I feel very much so Because if we rewind time back to where we just had that grainy video of a picture, remember in December when they released the picture of the white Elantra? I thought that was all we had. Many of you thought that that was all we had. Come to find out, there's quite a bit of footage of this very vehicle, including the new footage that was released during this documentary, which shows from 3:30 to 4 o'clock this car going in circles, essentially. Now, a lot of the pro burgers that's in this situation that are making content or anything like this, they're saying, no, that was a green Elantra. No, it wasn't. And then they're saying, well, no, there's people that live right there that's in an Elantra. Well, let me ask you a question. If you lived right there, okay, wouldn't you just walk over there and do the killings? Since you could get to the Idaho 4 house in less than a minute, and even beyond that, if you lived in that area, would you need to circle for a half hour straight? No, of course you wouldn't. And this is this kind of logic that I think a lot of people are afraid to latch on to. And this isn't something that the mainstream media made up. I saw the video. You saw the video. Then we got other coincidences, which I have heavily defended Koberger for, such as the phone being off. Now, the phone being off, I've consistently said, hey, my phone usually dies every night about 2:30, 3 o'clock anyway. There's a difference, though. It's not usually me out and about that early in the morning, and then my phone dies and then comes back on. Do you see my point? I personally didn't take the phone thing as that important. But when you add it to all the coincidences, like he was already out and about and his phone showed that, and then the phone just dies or gets airplane moded, or you know what I'm saying, it's another coincidence, right? It's another coincidence. Then we have the coincidence of him ordering a K-bar knife, a sheath, and a sharpener. Now, a lot of you will say and lie about it. I got 18 K-bar knives. No, you don't. No, you don't. Let's be honest here. All the people that's in this audience usually claiming they got K-bar knives, let's be honest, they're full of shit. And I know that because I'm an outdoorsman, and I'm 44 years old, and I've never even physically seen a K-bar knife. Now, I agree with you with the balaclava. I agree with you with the mask because I'm in the Appalachians and I'm a hiker. But I've never in my entire 44 years even seen a K-bar knife, if you want to know the truth. Now, what are the odds, coincidentally, since you got to remember, since he's involved and suspected in this case, that he ordered it in his name, had it delivered, and then searched for a replacement after the killings. Yeah, I think you have to look at that and say, even if you believe, yeah, we all look at shit all the time. We all order K-bar knives. You don't see a little odd shit with the time frame here? With the timeline? You don't find it at least a little coincidental? Now, let's continue. We can go now. We can talk about the other information that they provided, such as the pool party. The pool party to me was not weird at all. I told y'all Koberger pimping. I told y'all Koberger was not some incel. I told y'all that Koberger got hoes. I've been telling y'all that. I've been saying that, and it's all y'all that's been like, no, he's a creepy. He looks creepy. He looks creepy. No. Now he looks creepy in the latest photo with him 2 days before he was arrested with the hoodie up. He looks creepy in that situation, and I'll grant that to you all day long. But it's only because of what we know or what's suspected. Typically, I'm a person that wears hoodies all the time. I'm a person that puts my hood up all the time. I've taken several pictures with my hood up all the time. It doesn't mean he's killing nobody. But however, when you start to put the pieces to the puzzle together, I want you to look at some of the other things we learned during this documentary. We learned that starting at 6 a.m. that very morning, he began calling other phones on his father's plan, linked to his father. And then he's all of a sudden, several calls were long in length, with the longest one being 58 minutes, I think it was. Let me ask you an honest to God question. And men, I want you to tell me, how many of you call your mom or your dad at 6 in the morning and stay on the phone with them for an hour? I just want you to be honest. Be honest with me. How many of you on a Sunday morning call your mom or dad at 6 o'clock in the morning several times and stay on the phone with them for up to an hour. Now, you may sit there and say, all the women will say, oh, I do all the time. Okay, fine. Women like phones. But men, we know, we don't even talk to bitches we want to fuck for 59 minutes. Am I right or am I wrong? Now, going back to some of the things that we learned, we hear about the Asian girlfriend that wanted a relationship with him, but he really wasn't feeling it. Then we hear this goofy story, probably just a bit, you know how it is when a woman, what do they say? A woman scorned. So the woman comes out here. Hold on, the woman comes out here, the Asian woman, and says, well, there was this key situation. She'd lost her key, and now she's wondering, thinking back if Kohlberger did it. All that's bullshit, okay? These are the same people that asked Kohlberger to put up a security cam in their place. And then later on, after the fact, be like, well, I wonder if he was the one that did it. That's some bullshit. I will tell you this. If he did this shit with the Asian, then of course that looks bad. That looks really, really bad on him. But the truth of this is, I don't believe he did. I believe the Asian was somebody that had a crush, really got into Kohlberger, and Kohlberger just, for some reason, decided she wasn't his type. It's just that simple. Then we go back to the pool party. Kohlberger was getting numbers from people on the phone. He was, you understand what I'm saying? Now, he did text something very goofy the next day. He said, we were talking about hiking yesterday, and I really enjoy that activity. That's pretty faggot thing to say. It seems robotic. It's kind of strange. But going back into this documentary, we also learned that the crime scene was extremely bloody. So this whole thing with Dylan Mortensen and the other victim not recognizing that these people had been murdered, I do not believe for a second. We learned that Xana, what we learned is that it's very possible that when the two girls upstairs were being murdered, that Xana potentially heard this. This is coming from a source close to the investigation, ran up the stairs, was then chased back down the stairs, which would have been a good reason for the knife sheath to be left behind, murdered brutally, and then Ethan's throat was cut while he was laying in the bed, and hell, even chunks were carved out of his legs. Now, this is some pretty big shit, because then it also said that they believed that the killer sat down in a chair in that room and transferred blood. Now, when you think about that, you got to say, well, how come he didn't transfer blood to his car? How come he didn't transfer? So I think this story is definitely something to question, not necessarily believe, but it does make sense. Because Ethan was murdered. A lot of you guys have asked, how is it possible that Kohlberger or any other one individual could kill 4 people in such a short amount of time? My answer is very simple. Women aren't hard to kill. Women aren't hard to beat up. Women aren't hard to physically dominate. We got the answer. Because if Ethan never woke up, if Ethan was passed out drunk, and Ethan got his throat slit in the bed, I want you to think about those 3 girls and how easy it would have been to creep up there, kill Maddie and Kayla in their sleep, essentially. Yeah, there was a struggle. And then all you had to do was then chase Xana down, catch her ass as she was trying to get in there to Ethan, kill her quickly, and then that was it. And then you immediately go after Ethan and kill him. So that answers the question that so many of you people have asked by saying there had to be more than one person. No, there didn't. That was a lot of time to do what Kohlberger did. You act like it takes, all I will tell you is if any of you have ever fought in a cage or boxed or anything, I'm telling you right now, 3 to 5 minutes is a long time when you're in the heat of battle. So I want you to think about that even if he took 2, 3, 4 minutes with each person, well, 2 to 3 minutes, that's still enough time. Now, I don't think he had to, because I think someone like Maddie was easily just slaughtered. I think Ethan was easily slaughtered. Kaylee probably put up a little bit of a fight, but ultimately, it seems to me that Xana probably put up the biggest fight because she was up running, if you want to believe that story. So, as all of this happens, as we hear this tale, we see the speeding away, we see all of this. My position on everything that we got going on is that there's too many coincidences to overlook. Is Brian Kohlberger still innocent until proven guilty? Abso-fucking-lutely. Does he deserve a fair trial? Yes. Will he get one? No. And that's what I've been saying the entire time. The difference is that I now believe he did it because it's too many coincidences, one after one after one after one. This whole there had to be someone else or a second party, it's starting to fall apart because as we get closer to trial, we're starting to get shit leaked out. Now, do I care if he Googled Ted Bundy? No, because that's what he did at school. So I'm not concerned at all that he Googled Ted Bundy. However, I do find it ironic some of the things he was Googling and songs he was listening to leading up to his arrest. I do find it ironic how heavily involved in this case he was when it comes to watching videos. I do find it heavily ironic that he searched out a new K-bar. I do find it ironic that, what's the word I'm looking for? When it comes to this, shit, I can't think of it. Fuck. But I do think that some of his actions following the situation, including the immediate change into Washington plates, so therefore you got a front plate, the fact that the car matches, a lot of these things, are they coincidental? Are they, yes. But how many more things do we need to see? What about the fact that it's being claimed that Kohlberger that morning Googled the Idaho 4 murders before any of us knew? If we find out that's true, if we find out that Brian Kohlberger Googled the Idaho 4 murders, the Moscow, Idaho murders before anyone else knew, bro, he's guilty. That's all I'm saying, man. And I know a lot of you guys are not going to agree with me, and I understand. But all I'm saying is don't be so married to a position. You don't know any of these people, and it's okay to be wrong. After two plus years, I've admitted I might have been wrong. And maybe Kohlberger did do it. You know, when you take a look at all this information that's out there, you know, some things is to muddy the waters. Like Ted Bundy, him Googling that, really doesn't mean anything. But I want to show you just real quick. Let's take a look at this right here. Let's just take a look at this because I believe this will have, let me see. Because I want to show you the car situation. Okay, here we go. I believe this is it. Let's go here. Look at this shit. Look at this car. Here, let me do this.
It's only been described in court documents until now.
Watch this. Look at this.
This video, obtained exclusively by Dateline, shows a white car on King Road in Moscow, Idaho on November 13th, 2022. At the wheel, the state will allege, was Brian Kohlberger, making repeated...
Like, they got some good footage of this shit.
...passes near a house where minutes later 4 students were stabbed to death.
Now, they got clear shots of this shit. Now, I want you to see when he comes back out.
Kohlberger has pleaded not guilty to all charges. This and other materials from our trusted sources, presented now for the first time in public, are part of a digital trail from before and after the murders of students Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin. Materials like records from Kohlberger's cell phone in the possession of law enforcement now, showing the phone calls he made shortly after the murders to a phone linked to his parents, just before he took a now infamous thumbs-up selfie. And Google searches regarding serial killers, including Ted Bundy, and searches for a particular kind of pornography. His searches include the words forced, passed out, drugged, sleeping. Does that mean anything to you?
Interesting, isn't it? These are all themes of power.
Investigators discovered a sheath from a case by the killer, and what sheath has been linked to Kohlberger murders. Kohlberger was back bars. He even processed.
Yeah, I want to be able to show you when he sped back out. Because that's really the big one. It's when he sped back out of the
13th,
after the crime scene.
4 University of Idaho students, Maddie Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, Xana Kernodle, and...
Hold on, let me see.
Gathered.
Okay, here we go. Is this when he speeds back out?
With evidence like this and our reporting, we have assembled a timeline for the weeks, months, and days before and after the murders. Starting with a pool party Koberger attended in July, just after he moved to the area.
Yeah, I don't give two shits about the pool party. But him speeding back out of the footage of him speeding back out, or whoever it was speeding back out, it was so quick. So it's clear that is suspect vehicle 1, right? Now the question is suspect vehicle 1 Koberger's? I think so. And I got to admit, I've always been one that said, they probably don't have much evidence that we haven't seen yet. And I do still believe that. But it doesn't mean that they don't have important evidence that we haven't seen that we can still be shown. For instance, some of the things we saw on this Dateline shit. Now, none of it was major. None of it was, something that should shake you completely. I'm just saying that for me, the coincidences are adding up, man. The coincidences are adding up. And for me, whether I think they have enough evidence or not, I think he did it. And that changes the way I look at the case. I do think Koberger, it's all starting to add up. I'm curious what you guys think. I'm sure we're going to have a lot of pro-burgers. I'm sure we're going to have guilters. But I think that as this case as we continue to get evidence trickled out to us, I just think it's foolish to stay married to one position and say no matter. I guess I'll say this: if you're a pro-burger, what evidence could be presented that would make you change your mind? Because this whole they planted a knife sheath, that's all just made up by you guys. Can we be honest here? You people that are saying that they planted a knife sheath, you just made it up. You just made it up. To the YouTubers saying it's the white supremacists that did it and they're framing Koberger. Man, you just made it up. That's the truth. You just made it up. There's tunnels under the house and Dave Bautista came and Ninja Turtles. You just made it up. Now, is it possible they rushed this to have an arrest? Yeah, I do believe that. Did the FBI do him dirty by accessing his DNA file when they shouldn't have and couldn't and weren't supposed to? Yeah. I definitely think Brian Koberger has a case on appeal to get off by technicality. But that does not mean he didn't commit these murders. I believe he did. Some of you guys do not. I am open to all points of view here because I always have been. And so I think me and Harsh having a conversation on it is going to be fun. But just for me, I think I've been convinced that there's just too many coincidences. The knife sheath, coincidence. DNA coincidence. Car, coincidence. Phone being off, coincidence, right? He ordered the K-bar, coincidence, right? Now we're even hearing that he had pictures on his phone of girls that followed or were friends of the Idaho 4, which we've been told this entire time there was no connection between Brian Koberger and the victims. This proves that there is at least 1 degree of separation, but a connection between them. I think that we have to look at this thing from all angles. And whether you're a guilter or not, I think you have to logically look at the things that exist and ask ourselves, well, is it possible he did do it? And then if you're a guilter, say, is it possible he didn't do it? Me personally, I think this is going to be a wild trial. I can't wait to cover it for you guys. But let me know what you guys think. What did you think of the documentary? What did you think of it? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you learn anything? I learned some shit. You know what I mean? A lot of it has to do with Xana and her being the Xana shit was big. And it actually raises more questions for the surviving victim, for the survivors. Because now we know that they weren't asleep. Now we know that they saw the dead bodies because they said Xana was laying in a pool of blood. If Xana was laying in a pool of blood, they saw this shit. Now, all this time, we always heard that there was something against the door was closed, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case. So I think you could still wonder what the fuck was going on with these girls, with the survivors. I think you can wonder everything. But this planting of the knife sheaths and shit like that, I think you haven't shown me any evidence of that. I've never believed the knife sheath was planted. Question is, was it Brian Kohlberger that lost the knife sheaths there? It makes sense if he was startled by Xana and had to chase the bitch down the steps. Right or wrong? Let me know what you guys think. If you like what I do here and you find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. I'm JB Gunner. This is Crime Time. We're getting somewhere with this thing. Sorry I couldn't show you, like I wanted to show you guys the documentary, but they'll copyright strike. Guarantee you at this stage, they'll copyright strike. That's just how Dateline is. I love you guys. I'll see you later. Peace out.